Situated along the rugged coast of South Africa, the Eastern Cape boasts breathtaking landscapes and a rich cultural tapestry. However, beneath this picturesque facade lies a shadow cast by the pervasive issue of the protection fee mafia. The protection fee problem in the Eastern Cape is a pressing issue that threatens the livelihoods of small businesses, perpetuates a culture of fear and intimidation, which also hinders economic growth in the region. In today's video, we get into this pressing issue.
Molini, and welcome to yet another episode of Conversations with Lankosi. Now, this is the news commentary section where we will be offering insightful commentary and exploring various perspectives on the stories that shape our world.
To understand the protection fee problem is to unravel a complex web of power dynamics, economic hardships, and systemic inequalities. The protection fee mafia operate on the illegal side of things. The prevalence of protection fees creates a climate of fear and intimidation, leading to a breakdown in community trust and cohesion. The extortionate nature of protection fees diverts financial resources away from legitimate business activities, stunting economic development and investment in the region. Now, what is a protection fee? Now, guys, a protection fee is essentially a form of extortion where individuals or businesses are forced to pay a certain amount to criminal gangs to evade, the vandalism, bullying, violence, and even death that comes to those who refuse to pay this fee, which can range from hundreds to thousands of rands per month being paid to these gangs. Now, together, we will journey through the heart of the Eastern Cape, where stories of resilience and resistance intertwine amidst the struggle for justice and equality. Now, let us get into article number 1. Pay up or die. That's the threat from the protection mafia to local businesses in the Eastern Cape. There are concerns Mthatha could soon become a ghost town, with some businesses forced to shut down. Extortionists are now also targeting places of worship. There are also claims that high-profile gangsters are associating themselves with the royal family, but the Abatembu King denies having any links. Police in the OR Tambo district of the Eastern Cape say they are worried about rumors that some of their own may be involved in extortion. They say they are willing to work closely with affected businesses to identify the criminals involved. ENCA's Ronald Masinda reports. Now, guys, the link to this article will be in the description box below. Let us get into what we got from this article alone. Pay up or die is not a mere threat. That alone is enough reason for law enforcement agencies to tackle the issue before more lives are lost. And imposing, protection fees normalizes illegal practices, which fosters a culture of dependence on criminal entities for safety, thereby diminishing trust in law enforcement agencies, perpetuating a cycle of crime and intimidation in the Eastern Cape. So the police in the OR Tambo district coming out to avail themselves and, having to declare their support for doing away with this long overdue rot plants a seed of hope. I just hope it doesn't end there and that justice is truly served. Now, let us get into article number 2. Business owners in the Eastern Cape are said to be living in fear following a surge in protection fee masters who threaten business owners in exchange for protection fees. Last week, an ophthalmologist had to shut down his practice after being threatened by these syndicates who prey on vulnerable business owners. Dear clients, patients, relatives, and colleagues, this serves as a formal notice to inform you and those concerned of the permanent closure of this ophthalmology practice practice as of 13 August 2024. The office's premature and permanent closure is due to hostile criminal activities that have threatened my life and well-being and have forced premature and forced closure of this medical practice permanently. I will miss my staff, colleagues, and most importantly, my patients whom I have treated with the utmost care and diligence ever since I opened the doors of this practice in 2019. As the first specialist ophthalmologist that originates in this town, the doctor wrote in his notice. UDM leader Bantu Holomisa said he too was concerned about the growth in the scourge, particularly in the Eastern Cape, following numerous reports of business closures due to these syndicates. I briefed Mr. Mchunu during the Cabinet's Lekgotla meeting recently about the crime situation in Eastern Cape and in particular in Umtata. As a result, he visited Umtata and other Eastern Cape hotspots where he engaged the communities. He was accompanied by Premier Mabuyane, said Holomisa on his X account. The rise in these incidents includes a surge in water tank mafias, construction mafias, and other criminal syndicates that target local businesses, demanding they be pay protection fees, which range from 30% to 50% of contract fees. Authorities have declared war against the construction mafia, but now the so-called water tanker mafias have also entered the fray. It is reported that these syndicates are mostly made up of secret criminal organizations, often linked to local business forums. Professor Dumisani Mabunda from the Police Practice Department at UNISA told ENCA that more needs to be done by law enforcement agencies to stop the surge. It is not about what the police are telling us, but about the communities. These crimes should be easy for the police to investigate. This is because these victims are approached by other human beings who have identities. They should take that information to the police to solve these issues, as these mafias are daring and have no fear of the laws of the country. In other countries, such as Colombia, this started small. I am hopeful that the police minister will work with affected communities, said Mabunda. Last week, Minister of Police Senzo Mchunu, alongside Premier Oscar Mabuyane and Community Safety MEC Xolile Nqatha, led a high-level crime prevention engagement session in Umtata. The meeting, which brought together representatives from national, provincial, and local governments to address the province's most pressing crime challenges and formulate strategic interventions to restore public confidence in safety and security, sought to find lasting solutions to the crime problems in the province. The engagement session, attended by high-ranking police officials, was focused on analyzing the most prevalent crimes in the Eastern Cape, including drug distribution and usage, murders, stock theft, illegal occupation of public buildings, and extortion. We are here to ensure that the perception of crime being out of control is contained, the minister said. Last month, the SABC reported that criminal syndicates were now targeting vulnerable members of society, including the elderly and people living with disabilities who are forced to pay protection fees against break-ins. Some of the victims are deaf and blind. They say they are being forced to hand over their house keys to the alleged criminals and vacate their houses if they refuse. I did not go out of my premises. I locked the house for a short time, and after that, I locked at the gate, and they came for the second time and demanded the keys, and the police arrived at that time when they were demanding my keys, one victim told SABC. Now, guys, the link to this article will also be in the description box below. Now, let us get into what we got from this article. Now, the Deputy Minister of Defense, Bantu Holomisa, the Minister of Police, Senzo Mchunu, and the Premier of the Eastern Cape, Oscar Mabuyane, are aware of this problem, and they've committed to fighting it off. Now, Holomisa did not mince his words when it came to expressing his distaste, for this protection fee mafia, and he has been very vocal about it, as he should, because again, that is the same province that birthed him, and we do hope that he is genuinely on the ground finding ways to uproot the problem, away from the podiums and the social media streets. Also, the people of Mthatha are losing key businesses and individuals who contributed to ensuring that the people of Mthatha are catered for and well taken care of. Having to lose an ophthalmologist, your first ever, due to the protection fee mafia is mad business. This is not fair on the community as a whole, and something needs to be done. Having to learn of the emergence of another problematic group called the water tank mafias is another red flag on its own. I mean, we're still trying to process the existence of the construction mafia and now the protection fee mafia. Could there be another crop that we are yet to hear of? Hey, The authorities have also declared a war against these criminals, but will they follow up on their declarations and commitments? Now, before falling off topic, let us get into this media statement issued by the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Police, Mr. Ian Cameron. The chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Police, Mr. Ian Cameron, is gravely concerned by reports of growing protection fee syndicates in Mthatha in the Eastern Cape. The direct negative impact of these syndicates and the impunity with which they operate affects the livelihoods of the people in the area. It is patently unacceptable that businesses in the area are harassed to a point of closing down as a result of the operation of these syndicates. The South African Police Service must put in measures to protect businesses and the people of the Eastern Cape against these criminals, Mr. Cameron said. The boldness of these syndicates is worrying in the context of the current economic challenges South Africa faces. The continued extortion operations will contribute to internal migration, which will in turn break down family structures and intensify the twin challenge of poverty and unemployment, the chairperson said. The Minister of Police in his first budget vote speech made a commitment to tackle such syndicates, and the Eastern Cape protection fee gangs will be a first litmus test for the SAPS. We are confident that they remain competent and committed South African police members who will work steadfastly to end the scourge and ensure safety and security for the people of Mthatha and the country in general, Mr. Cameron emphasized. He also highlighted the concerning increase in extortion cases affecting long-distance buses, particularly in the Eastern Cape and the Intercape Bus Company, which recorded over 170 attacks in the past 4 years. This directly affects the interprovincial movement of those people who depend on reliable, safe, and cheaper modes of transport, particularly the poor. The increase in extortion cases deprives the people of the opportunity to make a choice when they travel, and they possibly then have to spend more to travel to their destinations. Mr. Cameron the chairperson emphasized the need for collaboration between the police and the community to break the power of these syndicates. The SAPS must enhance its credibility among the community through action and ensure the investigation and prosecution of members of these syndicates, Mr. Cameron said. Issued by the Parliamentary Communication Services on behalf of the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Police, Mr. Ian Cameron. Now, guys, the link to the statement will also be in the description box below. Now, let us get into what we got from the statement alone. We understand the seriousness of the issue and believe swift action needs to be taken before things get worse. The protection fee mafia will only contribute to widening the poverty and inequality gap. And our high crime rate will not go down if these criminals are left alone. It could also encourage others to want in on the bullying of local businesses for a quick buck, which would obviously just worsen the problem should nothing happen. And also, this whole thing is a vicious cycle that perpetuates fear, which hinders the province's economic growth and stability, and that of, the affected areas. Now, for Intercape to come out and speak up, sharing their version of events, is mad business. 170 attacks in the past 4 years is a major red flag, guys. What was Bheki Cele actually doing during his time? Hmm? And will the new minister work to fight this off or maintain it like his predecessor seemingly did? Big ups to the chair for reminding the Minister of Police about the commitment he made during his first budget speech, where he made it known that the protection fee mafia were first on his hit list, to pressure him into doing instead of declaring to restore peace in communities, that have fallen victim to the protection fee mafia. Now, for those of you whose investigative noses are twitching, there will be links to different sources that actually cover a number of stories about, the emergence of the protection fee mafia in the description box below. The reliance on protection fees as a source of income obviously perpetuates criminal activities and it undermines the rule of law, contributing to a cycle of violence and insecurity in the Eastern Cape. Now, this needs to stop. The voices of the community speak volumes about the urgency of addressing this issue. It's not just about the money, it's about reclaiming agency and dignity in the face of exploitation and oppression. As we draw the curtains on this video, I leave you with a call to action to stand in solidarity with the people of the Eastern Cape and amplify their voices in the fight against the protection fee problem. Together, we can pave the way for a more just and equitable future for all.
That marks the end of today's video. Thank you so much for lending your eyes and ears. I hope that you found today's video informative. Please do not forget to click on that subscription button or light the notification bell so that you do not miss out on any new uploads. Enkosini.